Hey, welcome to lesson 3 of Financial Sobriety School. I'm your host, Linda Parmar. And this week in lesson 3, my favorite subject, sober spending. And it is the fourth foundation in the 7 foundations of financial sobriety. But I'll go through each lesson as the weeks go on, but I wanted to start with sober spending because as of today, you can actually register for a 3-day class that I'm going to be hosting called Sober Spending. You can register for that today. It is at lindaparmar.com/sober spending. And with sober spending, we're going to be doing it from the 19th to the 21st. And I'm going to be hosting this time for you to be able to do some sober spending, have some experience with it, learn the foundation of sober spending. I'm so excited. So, I wanted to tell you a little bit about what sober spending is. It's one of the biggest pieces overall with our money, dealing with the emotions and dealing with the numbing out and all of that is really important. But how we spend our money, how we plan to spend our money, and being able to actually pause when we're spending our money is really important. So that's why I wanted to start with sober spending as one of the first lessons in the foundations of financial sobriety. So excited to host the free class. It's ready for enrollment today. lindaparmar.com/sober spending. So we talked about what financial sobriety was in lesson 1. So just a quick recap of that. So financial sobriety is coming to a place where you're making clear decisions. You are making mindful decisions. You are looking at your money. You are dealing with the behaviors and the compulsions maybe of some past stuff that really wasn't serving you. You're starting to heal your relationship with money. You're coming to it from a clear, sober mind, which entails sober spending. So, what is sober spending? So, a lot of steps to the sober spending, but overall, what the overarching idea of it is planning what you're going to spend. So, there's a few steps to get here. Looking at our money is one of them, right? So, how much do we actually have to spend? Right? So that's where we are getting really clear and gathering information. We actually do our financial inventory first when we're working through the foundations. But I just wanted to, again, start with the sober spending just because to give you that general idea, because even if you just focus a little bit on this will really get you started with your financial sobriety. So, how much do I make? What expenses are coming out this week? What expenses are maybe even coming out today? What are expenses like what do I owe for things this month? A lot of the times, and what my experience has been working in my career for a while now, is most people have no idea. I have no idea how much I owe on something like a credit card, for example, a loan, your mortgage. And sometimes, like being clear exactly how much you owe on your mortgage isn't exactly, part of all your daily planning. But to have an idea and to maybe even know what your interest rate is and starting to get that clarity. And having that look of like, okay, what comes out on the 1st? What comes out on the 15th? Okay, I get paid on this day. What do I have to actually take out of that paycheck? What is due? Looking at due dates on bills, not being late on stuff, and being very mindful and planning exactly what is expected of your money. And this is something you're going to hear me say a lot, but money needs clarity. Money needs you to be really specific with what you expect from it. We're not going to just get a paycheck and just kind of like off to the races, throw in, pasta at a wall, hoping that it'll stick and that we'll have enough money to make it through. If we do it that way, that might be exactly how you're doing it. That's how I used to do it. Again, you are not alone in this. That's how I used to do it. Yay, I got paid. Let's go spend money. Let's go buy groceries. And then like 2 days later, you don't have any money. And then, oh, this is due. That's due. We need to really sit down, get clear about how much is going where and when. And so that comes down to the planning. I love to do a spending plan for the month. And even when we're really starting our financial sobriety, I like to even break that down per week, and then break it down daily, right? Sit down and have, like, whether you want to call it an official money date every morning, but I really believe in like habit stacking. And what I mean by that is if there is something that you're doing, a habit that you have every single day, just add something on top of that. And what that is for example, I have a morning practice that I do every morning. It is my meditations, my readings, my cards, all of my morning ritual. And then, yes, checking in with my money. Okay, is this where I expected it to be? What do I have to do today? What do I have to do this week? Check in on my spending plan. And at first, that feels like a lot. But once you really get into the habit of it, it hardly takes any time at all. Maybe a minute, 2 minutes. Like, okay, yep, this is good. And off you go. But that's the important thing, is starting to make it a habit of looking at your money and planning, like, what am I doing today? Am I going out for lunch? Am I going grocery shopping? Okay, what within my spending plan do I feel like I'm going to spend today on groceries? And it sounds, especially when we're first starting this journey, I may have lost you already and you're going, oh my God, that sounds like too much. It is. I just want to honor that and witness you with that, because it is a lot at first, but it's also really, really important. Because and as I said, as time goes on, it starts to get easier. And when I started doing it with my morning ritual, that was the most important piece, because I would meditate before. I would drop into my body. I would become present. Presence with your money, being mindful, is a big part of sober spending. Even when we pull into where we're going to spend money, or if you're going somewhere that sometimes could have been a real trigger in the past, taking some really big, deep breaths. My affirmation that I say to myself all the time and got me through the toughest parts of my financial sobriety was, I am safe. I am safe. I have a roof over my head. I have groceries. I have this, like acknowledging what I do have and the safety that that has brought me, because money can make us feel really, really unsafe. So I am safe. That embodiment piece of sober spending, connecting with your body, is really important. One thing that I find is a bit of a mind hack for people, especially those of us who love online shopping. Yeah, especially after the pandemic, buy now, buy now, buy now. That little button, all of that is just there. First of all, I recommend that you take your credit cards off of those apps and those websites and only put on PayPal that's attached to your bank or your bank account. Or if you have a Visa debit, just putting that card on there, it'll automatically come off of your bank account. Let's remove the credit cards from our sober spending, if possible. And having that mind hack sometimes that really helps support people. If that urge is really there, like, oh, I like that. Amazon is one of the biggest culprits. Maybe put it in your cart and just kind of don't do anything, don't buy anything, and give yourself a 24-hour rule, a 48-hour rule of like, if I really need that, I have to think this through. But we're even getting that dopamine hit when we're putting it into the cart, right? It's coming. It's like, ooh, that felt good. But let's walk away. Let's not hit buy now. That's a slippery slope for some people. So if that is something that you feel like, oh my God, that actually sounds like that'll be the worst thing for me, listen to your gut. It does work for some people. Make sure you start to unsubscribe from emails and stuff, because if something's in your cart, oops, you forgot something in your cart, need to go and get it. It's like, no, 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 no. Actually, I don't need to go and get it. So yes, that is a key part, is getting rid of those texts, getting rid of those emails that you get from those stores. And my goodness, it is so crazy to me how inundated our world is with that advertising. And as I had alluded to a bit in my story last lesson, was, that's what world we're living in right now, that it's completely normal to just hit buy now. And, now all those payment systems that are like, afterpay, oh, break this down into 3 payments. Well, we're breaking things down into 3 payments, but we're breaking like 10 different purchases. So next thing we know, we're like forking out like $350 a month on afterpays, if not more than that. No afterpays, none of that. Being clear, being like taking your power back, not letting the spending rule you. You rule your spending, sober spending. One of my trainings that I did with the Trauma of Money Institute was so beautiful. She had this one saying that I loved, is anytime before you bought something, is what is the why behind the buy? Even if you get a little like notepad or a post-it note, what is the why behind the buy? Put it on your computer, put it in your car, put them in different places of where you may go, when you spend money. What is the why behind the buy? Why am I doing this? What feeling am I trying to escape from? Am I trying to numb out? Am I trying to leave my body? Where am I in my body? How am I feeling? Checking in with ourselves. And what's beautiful about that is then we get to connect to our hearts a lot. And it feels so good when you feel proud of yourself for a decision that you make. As much as all of this is going to feel out of your comfort zone, you're going to be completely out of your comfort zone. But when you start to feel like you're getting somewhere and you're making decisions that feel good, oh, they feel so good. So one of those things that if you're feeling like it feels too hard and you kind of jump off the wagon a little bit, again, just keep making the next right decision. Don't go into that shame spiral of, well, I went off the wagon. Here I go again. I keep doing this to myself. Be like, no, what am I going to learn from this? What am I going to learn from this in my spending? And how can I use that lesson to move forward? What can we do with that? So, one other thing that is really important, and I just talked about, was, that checking in with your moods. And, there's that, and I remember my parents always using it when I was a kid, was like HALT, like hungry, angry, lonely, tired. The acronym is HALT, and checking in with yourself. How am I feeling right now? What's going on? Do I actually need to maybe go for a walk? Do I need a snack? And then that we can get even a little bit deeper with this, of some like inner child stuff. Like, what does little Linda need right now? And after working through so much in my recovery, the onion just keeps going and the layers keep happening. Inner child work is something that I'm really focused on right now within myself, and nurturing little Linda. Um, Little Linda likes to have hissy fits. She likes to control everything, right? Including the moods, and being stuck in the moods and ruminating. And that's where it's like, okay, well, what does she need? Right? Like, a lot of times, little Linda needs a hug. She needs to be told that everything's going to be okay and that she's not in charge. She's safe, right? That's where coming back to that affirmation for myself of I am safe is so, so helpful for myself. So, kind of summarizing sober spending, what it looks like. You're going to plan your spending, look at your money. What are your expenses coming out? and making a spending plan, breaking it down maybe into months, weeks, days, having a daily check-in with your money. Um, 24-hour limit of putting things in carts if that resonates for you. Obviously that's not a piece of the foundation, but I know that I've had so many clients that this helps support. And within hours, they're like, why did I even think that I needed that? Like, why did I need to buy this elaborate, I don't even know, like some sort of spa system of some sort or skincare or anything, right? Um, Checking in with your money, pausing, checking in with your body, checking in with your mood. How are you feeling? And the most important piece about it is, what is the why behind the buy? And then the next important thing is, if you make a decision with your spending that you don't feel great about, that's okay, right? Learn that lesson. Learn from decisions that you make that sometimes don't feel very good, because that's going to happen. And I talk about this, and it's something that may sound like, oh, I'm perfect at it, or like it's a perfect system. Again, money throw things at us sometimes that we aren't expecting, and it can take us, I call it the F it button, where we're just like, boom, I'm out of here. But again, like, it's going to happen. How can you adjust your sales to be able to just get back onto your goal of sober spending, and what that means to you, making clear, planned, aligned decisions with your money. If you want to be a part of the sober spending class, I would love for you to be there. It is open for registration now, lindaparmar.com/sober spending. And we are going to be doing it from April 19th to the 21st. I would love to see you there. Thank you for listening to Sober Spending, Lesson 3 from Financial Sobriety School. I'll see you next week for Lesson 4. Bye.